growth is change.
Exactly.
And my question and what I have been really pondering, and I love your insights. Why are we as humans so resistant to it? We just hate it, and and like that is so much resistance for us. Yet our bodies are subconsciously doing it. Do you think it's society? Like, this is a truth. Do you think it's our society's, like, what is that actual, like, why are we, like, why have we become so just resistant, reluctant to do it? And then what is it, like, what do you think it is for people who are actually, like, who enjoy it and who thrive with it? What is that? Because for me, I actually really enjoy change. I've always had to be changed. One, probably being an actor definitely helps me within that, as you as well. Any performer, like being an artist, like we are constantly shifting, and I think that there's a lot of that, and therefore that was my entryway into it. Yeah, what, like, do you think it's like the awareness?
That's a hard question.
Like,
I guess answering the first question, I think people are resistant to change because they're afraid. A lot of people enjoy routine, right? And we're trained in society. You have books like, I can't remember the exact name, but it's like 7 Habits of Successful People, or like things like that every single one of those types of books or those media that we consume is always saying having a routine for yourself will make you successful. Doing this repetitively will make you learn it better. And that's assuming that one time isn't enough, and I think in life, everything is a cycle. If you look at karmic cycles or life purposes, if you're into that, you keep revisiting the same idea over and over and over until you've learned the lesson. So I think because of that, people are used to or trained in a way to be in this mentality of like, I'm going to continue in the same routine. And I think people become comfortable with that. And I think people prefer comfort to the unknown because the unknown isn't stable. And I think stability, especially in American culture, is highly important. You're told to go to high school, to go to college, so you can get a good job, so you can pay for your house, so you can have kids, you can have a family, and you can do anything that you need to do. And I think change in a lot of people's mind equals instability. And I think that's where the fear comes from and is centered in, is the fear of instability. But I think branching off of that into your second question, I definitely think it's systemic. Because if you look at, for instance, America pre-colonization, you had these Native American tribes, and you had gypsies in Europe, and you had all of these people who were constantly changing. And you look at their cultures and you look at their religions, and they're so evolved. Native Americans have 5 genders. These gypsies were sexually fluid and socially open to anybody. Come here, let me love you. You are a part. They were welcoming. They were open because they were never in one place for more than one time. They hibernated and moved around with the seasons. But also, I guess in that there's also routine.
I would definitely, like, I can speak on the American, and you as well, the American kind of outlook. It is one, I think, of extreme individualism, as we mentioned before. And in a way, a lot of our society is based within Christianity and Catholicism and Baptist, and that is all it, like, structurally has been very much so, like, stability and like in a family. And so I do think, as you were talking through that, there is very much so systemic resistance to anything that is not that, like, even subconsciously. Because as young kids, like, right, like, even in our media, like the mom and the dad and the family at the dinner table, you know what I mean? Like, and that was even for our parents, the baby boomer generation, like their parents, like that was hit heavy. And like, not saying that like perhaps now that is really marketed in the media now, it still is. Those are the people who raised us. And that even like in the early 2000s, like we think, we're in 2020, like there's still a lot that needs to be unpacked.
Well, and I think that's something too. We had a friend come over who is like a heterosexual cis male, right? And he feels very safe, like asking us questions about stuff. And he was asking us about like if we were happy that there were gay couples in commercials and representation for our community, right? And we were talking about this, and Haley and I were just like, yes, obviously we're happy, but it's still mainly gay male couples because lesbians are fetishized and they don't show lesbian couples. It's still gay male couples, it's still one of those things where like, yes, it's more progressive, but is it representative of the entire community? No. How many times do you see a commercial that represents a gay couple that's not gay male? How often do you see polyamory represented? Never. How often do you see a trans couple or a lesbian with a trans man or a gay man with a trans woman? Like, you don't see it. It is so representative of one specific thing. And like, yes, there's progress, but there's still ways to go. And it's also like, yes, there's progress, but look at anything pre-2016. It wasn't there. It was Ellen DeGeneres and RuPaul. And that was it. And that was still heavily niched. I'm so happy for Gen Z and that they have the ability to come out more safely and more openly than we did as younger millennials. Because even the difference between when I graduated high school in 2013 and when my sister graduated high school in 2018, the amount of people who came out and who were out and proud in her high school, there were 2 people in my high school that were out and proud and able to show their love and be authentic to them, and in my sister's class, there were a good 15 to 20, and that's beautiful that they can live authentically and love themselves authentically. And that comes from representation through shows like Modern Family, through shows like Glee, and things not being stigmatized. Moving backwards, what we were talking about earlier of giving yourself permission to live authentically and freely, and thus giving others the permission, is so important, because if we can't give ourselves permission to love ourselves as we truly are, whether we're gay, straight, trans, black, white, gray, purple, other people, Kamala Harris, like, yes, some people may not agree with some of the things that she's done through her career, but what she shows young women of color is that there is a place, and you can't deny, regardless of her history, what she is doing for that group of people. And her loving herself and allowing herself to live authentically and chase her dreams fearlessly is giving others permission to love themselves authentically and chase their dreams fearlessly, regardless of the obstacles.
Fearlessness is massive. And I think that the fearlessness plays within like the vulnerability that you were mentioning in the way of celebrating yourself so that you can celebrate others, but it's a balance, and it all comes back down to a balance. And because I was like, as we were saying that, we're right now in a queer lens speaking, but even for heterosexual people, or vice, you have to celebrate yourself too, like even the unique parts of you, the places that the things of you that perhaps you don't even think fit within our society. You have to celebrate those parts so that then you can celebrate others more as well. It's like an anchor to yourself, in which you are putting energy so then that you may draw energy out. The fearlessness to choose love is, I think, the most immensely powerful thing we can do right now. The decision to wake up right here, right now, and say, my thoughts will be based, the structure of those thoughts are going to be one of love. Whether that is love for yourself, whether that is love for other, and hopefully it's a balance of the two.